Hi everyone, welcome to JavaTechie. In this tutorial, we'll discuss what is solid design principles, what all solid acronym, and why we need to adapt to the solid principles in details. Basically, solid principles are the design principle that enable us manage most of the software design problems. The term solid is an acronym for 5 design principles intended to make software designs more understandable, flexible, and maintainable. Now let's understand the SOLID acronym. In SOLID keyword, S stands for Single Responsibility Principle, O stands for Open and Close Principle, L stands for Liskov Substitution Principle, I stands for Interface Segregation Principles, and D stands for Dependency Inversion Principle. So these 5 principles have changed the world of object-oriented programming and also changed the way of writing software. So now let's take a look into each principle with real-time example. So let's get started. Let's discuss one by one. So the first principle, single responsibility principle, states that a class should have only one region to change, which means every class should have a single responsibility or a single job or a single purpose to perform. This principle can be well understood with an example. Imagine there is a class called bank service, and if you observe in this bank service, we have multiple methods like deposit, withdraw, print passbook, get loan interest info, and send OTP. So here, have you imagined the scenario? Here the class has multiple regions to change. For example, look into this get loan interest info. Now this bank is supporting for home loan, personal loan and car loan. In future this bank want to support for gold loan or study loan. Then in that case we need to modify this code, right? Similarly, you can consider this send OTP method. Let's assume this bank service supports send OTP medium as a email now, but in future they might want to introduce send OTP medium as a phone or WhatsApp. Then again you need to change its implementation. It does not follow single responsibility principle because this class has too many responsible or tasks to perform. To achieve the goal of this single responsibility principle, we should implement a separate class that perform a single functionality only. Okay. For example, if you observe this print passbook logic, we can move to a printer service. Similarly, this loan related stuff, we can move to the loan services, and this OTP related stuff we can move to the notification service, so that each service will contain a single responsibility to perform. So to do that, what I'll do, I'll just create a class called printer service. Let me refactor this, shift F6, then I'll rewrite. Fine. In this printer service, I will move this piece of code. So I can directly copy here and I will just paste it here. Fine. Similarly, I will create another service called loan service. Fine. Then this loan related stuff, I can directly move to that loan service. Okay. So just go to the loan service, just add it here. Similarly, I can create another class called notification service. So I'll just create notification service where I can move this send OTP logic, right? So I'll just copy this from bank service and then I will just add it here. Fine. Now here I can write some other medium also. If medium dot equals mobile or phone, then we can write logic using the Twilio API. Okay. Write logic using API. Fine. Now if you observe, each class have single responsibility to perform their task. So if you go to the bank service, here only we have deposit and withdraw related logic. Similarly, if you go to the print service, it will deal with print related stuff. Similarly, if you go to the loan service, it will only deal with the loan related stuff. And if you'll go to the notification service, it will talk with the send OTP by email or mobile. This is what the single responsibility principle says. Okay. Now let's move into the next principle, which is open closed principle. This principle states that software entities like classes, modules, and functions should be open for extension but closed for modification, which means you should be able to extend a class behavior without modifying it. Let's understand this principle with an example. Let's consider the same notification service which we just created. Now, if you'll go to the notification service, we have only two features, right? Send OTP through email and send OTP through mobile. Let's say in future this notification service want to implement send OTP through WhatsApp, and that feature will be not supported by all the implementation, right? So in that case, we should not modify the WhatsApp related code in this particular notification service, because this open close principle says always it open for extension but close for modification. Hence it's not recommended to modify notification service for each OTP feature. It will violate this OCP principle, right? So if you want to implement this WhatsApp related notification service, then just extend from this notification service and do whatever you want to do, but don't modify here. That's how we are allowing for extension, not for modification. So to overcome this, you need to design your code in such a way that everyone can reuse your feature by just extending it. And if they need any customization, they can simply extend it and they need to add their features on top of your code. It's like a abstraction, right? So you can design something like this. So go to the project. I created separate folder for each principle. Now let's go to this open close principle. What I'll do, I'll just create an interface, or what I'll do, I can also create a abstract class, but let's not do that. I'll just create an interface called notification service. Okay, so I'll just make it interface. Fine. In this notification service, there is a spelling mistake. No, it should be capital, but that's fine. So what I'll do here, I'll just write a method public void send OTP. I'll just make this generic. Okay, so I'll just add a argument string medium. Similarly, I can write another method called public void send transaction report or something like that. Let's say string medium. Okay. Now what I can do, I'll create separate implementation for each OTP functionality. It's kind of mobile, email, or WhatsApp. So for that, what I can do, I can simply create a class called email notification service. Fine. And I'll simply implement from what is that notification service, right? Then I just need to override these two methods. So here just write logic to integrate with email API. Fine. Similarly, this also required email related configuration here, because this particular implementation will deal with the email notification service. Okay. Similarly, you can create, let's say I will create another class called mobile notification service. It will also implement from notification service, and just need to override these two methods. Okay. So here you can write the logic to send OTP to mobile. Okay, so for that there is multiple messaging API. You can use Twilio API. Okay, and same logic need to be apply here. Okay, now let's say this notification service further want to extend to the WhatsApp notification service. Okay, so again you just need to create a class called WhatsApp notification service. Just implements it from notification service and just override the method and just add your logic here. Okay, so let me add some comment here. Logic to integrate WhatsApp API. Same you need to do for this send transaction report. Okay. So now let's say user are expecting some different medium of notification service, something like Facebook Messenger notification service. So in that case, we'll not allow user to modify this notification service. Rather than modifying it, we just allow him to extend it from notification service and then provide your own logic for Facebook Messenger notification related stuff. And same way we did for email notification, mobile notification, and WhatsApp notification, right? We just allow all implementation to extend from this notification service rather than modifying it. That's what all about the open close principle. Now let's move into the next feature or principle, which is Liskov substitution principle. Okay. So this principle states that derived or child classes must be substitutable for their base or parent classes. In other words, if class A is a subtype of class B, then we should be able to replace B with A without interrupting the behavior of the program. This principle is a bit tricky and interesting. All it designed based on inheritance concept. So let's better understand this with an example. Let's consider I have a class called social media. So let me go to the IntelliJ IDE. So if I'll go to Liskov substitute principle directory, I have a abstract class called social media and it supports all social media activity for user to entertain them. Okay. So if you observe, user can chat with a friend, he can publish a post, he can send photos and video, he can do the group video call. So these all features supported by multiple client. For example, there can be a multiple client for this social media like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Okay. Now let's consider this Facebook. So I will create a class called Facebook. Let me create a class called Facebook. Then I will simply extend from abstract class, which is social media. Since this is abstract class, I must need to override all the abstract method. So I just implement those methods. So if you observe, if those who are using Facebook, they might aware about these features already available in Facebook, right? So now we can say this Facebook is substitute of social media because parent can be replaced to this Facebook, like social media can be replaced to this Facebook because all the functionality in parent and child are substitute with each other, right? Now let's check the implementation for WhatsApp. Let me create a class called WhatsApp. Okay. Then I will also extend it from social media. I just need to override all the methods. Fine. Now if you observe, chat with friends, this features is available in WhatsApp. Publish post, this particular method will be not supported by this WhatsApp. Okay. So I'll just add a comment, not applicable. Apart from that, send photos and video also supported by WhatsApp and group video call also supported by WhatsApp, right? So if you observe in this WhatsApp, this is not the acceptable or this is not the supported feature by WhatsApp. It means WhatsApp cannot be substitute of this social media because these both are not in a sync, right? So because of this unsupported features is part of this WhatsApp. So we can say it does not support Liskov substitution principle. Similarly, now let's talk about the Instagram. Let me create another class, Instagram. This will also extend from social media and I just need to override all the methods. So this chat with friends is supported in Instagram, publish post also supported, send photo and videos also supported, but Instagram does not support for these group video calls, right? So I'll just write not applicable. Fine. So because of these particular features or method, we can say Instagram child is not substitute of the parent social media. Fine. This also does not follow Liskov substitution principle. Now we need to identify how to overcome this issue or how we can design our code in such a way it will follow Liskov substitution principle. So to do that, what I'll do, I'll just create a interface. Okay. So I'll just create another package here. Let's say solution. Okay. inside solution, I will just create another interface called social media. Fine. I will just add couple of method here. So there is a spelling mistake. Let me correct it. Fine. Now the common features or the common functionality which was supported by social media and all its client is send with, or we can say chat with friends and send photos and videos, right? Let me go to this social media existing class. I'll just copy this method to the solution social media. Okay. And also if I'll go to this, I'll just copy this one. Okay. Because these two features supported by all the implementation. So I'll just add it here. Okay. This should be interface. Fine. Then to deal with post and all, I'll just create another interface. Let's say post media manager. Fine. There I'll just add this couple of method. Let's say I'll just add this method. Okay. So go to the post media manager. This should also an interface. Just add this method. Okay. Then related to the video call, I'll just another interface. Let me name it video call manager. So I'll just append the prefix social video call manager. Okay. I'll just add a method here which is group video calls. Okay. Go to the social video. I just need to change it to interface. Just add the method. So you can remove this abstract key because by default every method in interface is abstract, right? Let me close all. I'll just go here. I'll just remove this abstract keyword. Similarly, I will go to social media. I will remove this abstract keyword. Now if you observe, we segregate specific functionality to separate class to follow this Liskov substitution principle. Now it's up to implementation class decision to support features. Based on their desired feature, they can use respective interface. For example, Instagram does not support this video call feature. So what Instagram implementation class do, I'll just create a class. Let's say social Instagram, or I'll just name it Instagram social, or just name it Instagram only. Now Instagram does not support video features, right? So simply he can do implements from social media, because if you go to the social media, there is two methods: chat with friends and send photos and video. These two are supported by Instagram, right? So I can directly implement from social media. And also Instagram support to post the video or image, right? So also I can go for this post media manager. Now Instagram can support these features. So let me implement the method. If you observe, you just need to write the logic. Okay. Because these features are supported by Instagram rather than the video call. So that's the reason I didn't implement from social video call manager. Okay. So now here we can consider this Instagram is child for the social media and post media manager, and also it's substitute of both the parents, right? Similarly, you can create another class called WhatsApp. Fine. Just implements from social media because it supported the chat. And if you go to the social media, there is two method, right? It supported the chat, and also it allow user to send photos or video over the WhatsApp, right? And next, it only support the video call. So what I'll do, I'll just implement from social video call manager. Now I just need to override this implementation. Fine. If you observe, this WhatsApp I didn't implement from post media manager because there is no option in WhatsApp to publish a post like the way we are doing in Facebook and Instagram, right? So now you can say this WhatsApp is a child of the social media and social video call manager, and also it's substitute of both the parents, right? This is how you can design Liskov substitution principle in Java following on the interface approach. You can also go with the abstract class, but it's always recommend to use the interface. Okay. Now let's move into the next feature, which is interface segregation principle. This principle states that Do not force any client to implement an interface which is irrelevant to them. Okay, it means let's say you have an interface having 5 methods and you have a class called A who implements that interface, and that class A don't want to override all the method. Then as my client is A, I will not force them to override all the 5 methods if not needed. Okay, so I will directly jump into the example. Let me go to the IntelliJ IDE. Let's say I have a interface called API payments. Okay, so there is an option called pay money, get scratch card, get cashback as credit balance. Okay, so let me create a implementation for these API payments. As you know, there is multiple API payments implementation like Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay, something like that. Okay, so let me create a class called Google Pay. Google Pay. Okay, now in this Google Pay, I just need to implement API payments and then just need to override all the methods. Okay, so if you observe, Google Pay supports these features: pay money, get scratch card, get cashback as credit balance. So if you send some amount in Google Pay, usually you get a scratch card with some cashback or some amount, right? So these features is there in GPay, right? Now let me create another implementation which is Paytm. Paytm also implements from API payments. Now let me override all the methods. So pay money features is there in Paytm. Even nowadays Paytm is giving the scratch card with some coupon or some discount. But if you observe, this get cashback as credit balance is not there in Paytm, right? These features not applicable for Paytm. So in this case, as a client, my Paytm is forced to implement this interface and he is overriding this method even though he is not using it, right? So here we should not force our client Paytm to override this method by implementing API payments. It violates the contract of interface segregation principle. Similarly, if I will create a class called PhonePay, let me create a class called PhonePay implements API payments, and he also need to override all the methods. Again, as a PhonePe client, I should not force PhonePe to override this method if he is not supporting this, because in PhonePe also we don't have this get cashback as credit balance. Okay, this is also not applicable for PhonePe. So this is not a good way to design the code. So what we can do, if you remember, single responsibility principle also applicable in this interface segregation principle. Okay, so all the principle looks same, but the functionality wise and the purpose wise all are different. Now to overcome this issue, to follow the interface segregation principle, what I can do, I can just create another interface. Let me create a interface called cashback manager or something like that. Okay, and then I will just add this method, this get cashback as credit balance, and I will simply remove it from API payments. Okay, so just add it in cashback manager. Fine. Now if you will go to the Google Pay, and since Google Pay supports this get cashback as credit balance, you can simply implement from cashback manager, right? CASH. What is the interface name? Okay, I just need to rename this F6. Fine. So this method is override for this particular Google Pay. Now if you will go to the Paytm, we no need to implement from cashback manager because this is not required for Paytm and PhonePe, right? You can simply remove this. This is what all about interface segregation principle. Okay. Now let's move into the last principle, which is dependency inversion principle. Okay, so the principle states that we must use abstraction, abstract class and interface instead of concrete implementation. High level modules should not depend on the low level modules, but both should depend on the abstraction. Let's consider an best use case. Let's assume you go to a local store to buy something and you decide to pay for it by using your card. So when you give your card to the cashier for making the payments, the cashier does not bother to check what kind of card you have given to him. Okay, even if you have given debit card or credit card, it does not matter for them. They will simply swipe it. This is what the abstraction between cashier and you rely on this card processing. So hope you understand this. Like we just need to use the abstraction to process this payment. Now let's replace this example in code to understand it in better way. So as we discussed, let's say I have two cards with me, credit card and debit card. Okay, so let me close all this class. Let me go to the corresponding directory and I will just create a class called credit card, and here I have some method called public void do payment or something like that, or do transaction long amount. So I'll just add something. So I'll just give payment using credit card. Similarly, let me copy this method. I'll create another class called debit card. Okay, and I will just add the same method, payment using debit card. Okay, so let me modify here credit card. Now as you discuss, as per the example, we have two card, credit card and debit card. Now I will go to one of the shopping mall. Okay, so I'll just create a class called shopping mall. Okay, so initially I thought to purchase something and I just want to pay using my debit card. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just use debit card here. I'll just declare this as an attribute. Then I will inject, or I will just use the constructor here. Okay, so let me add the constructor. I'll just use this debit card. Fine. Now there is a method called public void do purchase something long amount. Okay, now I can simply pay using this debit card dot do transaction, give the amount. Fine. Now let me write the main method here. So now if you observe, this shopping mall class is tightly coupled with this debit card. So to demonstrate that, what I will do, to purchase this order, I just need to provide my debit card instance. For example, I just need to create a shopping mall object, new shopping mall. Fine. So if you observe, this particular line is crying, right? Because this shopping mall is expecting an instance of debit card. So first I need to create the object of debit card, new debit card. Then I just need to give this instance to this shopping mall and I can purchase something, right? So I can directly call shopping mall dot do purchase something, give some amount, let's say 5,000. Now it will call debit card method because we are giving that instance. Let's assume there is some error in my debit card, so I just want to go with payment process using my credit card. Okay, so my debit card chip is corrupted or something like that, I just move on to the credit card. So in that case, since my shopping mall is tightly coupled with debit card, what we need to do, again just change the implementation. So what I'll do, I'll just use this credit card. Here also I just need to do the credit card. Like lot of changes you need to do because your class is completely tightly coupled. So I'll just add it here. This dot credit card equal to credit card. Like to change a method, payment method, you just need to change bunch of code here, right? So I'll just use credit card instance here. Then if you observe, this constructor is crying because he is now expecting a object of credit card. Fine. So same way, I just need to create object of credit card, new credit card. Then I just need to pass this instance here, right? Now this guy is happy and you are able to purchase the order. But if you observe, this is not the recommended way to write the code because we always need to maintain the loosely coupled between the classes. So if you observe here, shopping mall is here directly coupled with, tightly coupled with credit card and as well as the debit card. Based on your need, you just need to create that particular instance and you just need to pass it to the shopping mall. So it does not follow the dependency inversion principle. So to overcome that, what we can do, I'll just create another interface called, I'll just name it bank card or something like that. Okay. And inside this bank card, I'll just add this method public void do transaction. Fine. Now both credit card and debit card I will implement from this bank card. Okay. So now let's go to the credit card. I'll simply implement from bank card. Go to the debit card. Simply I will implement from bank card. Okay. Now credit card and debit card point to this bank card because of this interface and implementation class. Now in shopping mall, rather than hard code this credit card or debit card, I can simply inject this bank card because bank card have the implementation both credit card and debit card. So I can directly pass the instance of this bank card instead of two implementation whenever we need. So what I'll do, I'll just change the constructor to bank card. So I'll just add bank card, change here. Now see the magic here. So I can simply write bank card equal to new any of the implementation with which you want to perform your or with which you want to process your payment. So you want to process your payment with the debit card, just change in a single line because this debit card is a child of your bank card, right? So this is what the runtime polymorphism. That is what the runtime, it will decide what object we are creating based on the reference. And now let me comment this line. So if you observe, you can directly pass the bank card here. Fine. Now in future, you just want to change to the credit card. Simply, you just change the implementation alias name here. You no need to change multiple places. You can directly do it here. Even if you observe, this class is also somehow tightly coupled with the implementation bank card, but it's not tightly coupled the way we did for directly injecting the credit card and debit card. Okay. In Java there is no concept you can completely make zero loosely coupled between the classes. You need to rely on some design pattern for that. So now if you observe, in future you want to change to the credit card, just change the implementation itself. That's fine. In other words, as per example, now to this shopping mall or to the cashier of shopping mall, I am just giving the bank card. He also don't know which card it is, whether it is debit card or credit card. I am just giving him the bank card. He will process based on this particular implementation. Okay. This is what all about dependency inversion principle. So I believe you received the complete context on all 5 principles of the solid: single responsibility principle, open closed principle, Liskov substitution principle, interface segregation principle, and dependency inversion principle. If you like this content, do let me know your interest in comment section. And also, I created one Medium blog related to this particular design principle. I will share this link in video description so you guys can refer it. Okay. All the content what I explained, I just covered as part of this Medium blog. I will share this link. That's all about this particular video, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Meet you soon with a new concept.